Okay, today we're diving into something that feels, well, different. A new AI from Moonshot AI called Kimi K2. And what it does is pretty fundamental. It doesn't just answer questions, it thinks. And believe me, this isn't just another small update, this is a whole new playbook for how AI can work.
Yeah, you heard that right. We're stepping into the next era of AI, an era where these models don't just wait for our commands. They plan, they reason, and they act, all on their own. And get this, the model leading this new wave isn't from the usual giants like OpenAI or Google. It's from a company called Moonshot AI. And their creation, Kimi K2, is so much more than a chatbot. It's an open-source agent built from the ground up for autonomous reasoning.
So what does that actually mean, autonomous agent? Well, imagine giving an AI a really broad goal, like write a complete research report on the market for electric vehicles. An agent like this can handle the entire process itself. It'll search the web, organize the data, write the code to make charts, all without you having to guide it every single step of the way.
So, how on earth does it pull this off? Well, the secret is in its unique thinking process, which is actually designed to mimic the way you and I tackle big, complicated problems.
At its heart is something called interleaved chain of thought. The best way to picture this is to imagine Kimi K2 having a constant internal monologue. It's literally talking to itself, breaking down a problem, and planning out its next few moves before it ever takes an action.
And this loop right here, this is the secret sauce. First, it thinks, chopping the big goal into smaller, manageable pieces. Then it acts, maybe it uses a tool, runs a search, writes some code. Then, critically, it verifies the result. It reflects, did that get me closer to my goal? And based on that, it improves its plan for the next cycle. It just runs this loop over and over and over until a job is done.
And here is where things get, well, frankly, a little crazy. Kimi K2 can keep this loop going for up to 300 sequential actions while staying completely locked on its original goal. Now, to put that into perspective for you, most other AI agents start to lose the plot. They get confused and fail after just 30 or maybe 50 steps. This is a massive, massive leap in long-term reasoning.
So with that kind of power, you gotta ask the big question. How does it actually stack up against the heavyweights? Well, Moonshot AI put Kimi K2 to the test, and let me tell you, the results are pretty shocking.
But before we get to the numbers, you have to get this fundamental difference. Traditional models, even the huge ones like GPT-4, are basically reactive. You have to hold their hand. Kimi K2 is proactive. It's designed from day one to be a self-driven partner that can navigate complexity all by itself.
And that brings us to this. Wow, just look at this. On humanity's last exam, which is a notoriously difficult test for reasoning, Kimi K2 scores almost 45%, outperforming both GPT-4 and Claude. Yep, you are reading that right. An open-source model just beat the closed-source industry leader on a major reasoning benchmark. Let that sink in.
And it's not a fluke either. Look at this. Across a whole range of tough benchmarks, Kimi K2 just cleans up. On BrowseComp, which tests how well it can reason about stuff on the web, it more than doubles the human baseline score. It nails over 71% on real-world software engineering tasks, and it gets an unbelievable 99% on elite-level math and logic problems. The point is, this thing is powerful across the board.
But honestly, the raw performance, as incredible as it is, might not even be the biggest part of the story. The truly revolutionary part is that Moonshot AI gave it away to everyone.
To stop and think about what this makes possible, we're talking about an AI that can be your personal autonomous researcher, a software developer that can actually debug an entire code base, or a problem solver that can take a crack at PhD-level science. These aren't just simple prompts anymore. These are entire projects handled by one AI agent. And that really brings us to this powerful idea. For so long, the most cutting-edge AI has been locked up, proprietary, controlled by just a handful of huge companies. This release, it just shatters that dynamic.
Because it's out there under a modified MIT license. Any developer, any researcher, any startup anywhere in the world can now get their hands on it and start building their own powerful autonomous systems. This is a huge, huge step in democratizing access to what comes next in AI.
So what Moonshot AI has really given us isn't just another model. It's a peek into a future where machines don't just answer us, but they think, they plan, and they act alongside us. Which, of course, leaves us with one heck of a question to think about. Are these thinking agents the end of the road, Or are they just the very first step towards something much, much bigger?